heroes away and making sure that Ana gets a lot of that free farm in the top lane for the Dire.
I don't know, dude. Thompson's smiling a little bit too much. He's chuckling a bit too much with this Pugna pick. Of course, another hero that
he's just saying, you're not raising me. You're not raising me down this time. I'm just going to plant my Nether Ward and see what happens.
I mean, it's a really, really good Pugna matchup into the Shadow Fiend. You got Ana playing the Morphling now, so you see the true flex that T1 are already shown, which is going to be such a scary thing for other teams to face. It doesn't matter if they drop down to the lower bracket, if Execration take this series, or if they move forward to the upper bracket. Just the fact that T1 are now showing that their capability with being able to play multiple heroes in different roles is going to be a drafting nightmare.
My other question is, what does Tino actually build this game? Because if you go Helm of the Dominator, you're up against an Enchantress. Like, that's a pretty big window where you need to use that Dom creep to be able to farm, oftentimes on the back of pushing. And I feel like you just need to have the perfect team fights go your way on Execration, where T1 show up to a fight that they probably shouldn't, and then off the back of the exorcism, you take a tower, you know? And that opens up the map where you're able to farm a couple of more camps, which gets you a Helm of the Overlord timing, and then until you're level 20 on the Enchantress, then you don't really care about the enchant quite so much. But there's going to be that big, like, probably like a 10, 15-minute window where you're just able to do whatever the hell you want into the Helm of the Dominator before you get that Overlord. That's probably too big of a window. 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I feel like it's key as an item build though. Like I don't. Can you ever see the Lycan defer from the Overlord?
Shocking.
Not really. I mean, what other options have we had since Necrobook was removed? I've seen the occasional Desolator if they really wanted to up the tempo a little bit, go Presence Aura Effect buildings at level 15, especially considering you're into a Pugna, so maybe you don't want the Shadow Raise damage because you want to be much more of a right-clicking style on this SF. I'm just spitballing here.
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm with the spitballing. I don't know, like a Wraith Pact into a Deso, like you mentioned. We'll see. I do think Wraith Pact is going to be... the Overlord is pretty core, especially in a game like this. But like you mentioned, there's going to be a very, very awkward timing here for Tino with how that Helm Dom is going to be affected. And even as the game goes on, like Enchantress will have that level 20 talent if she wants to go down that route. So, well, yeah, we'll see what the play is going to be out of Tino. I do think this is a lane that they should be pretty comfortable on. We'll keep tabs on mid, though, because this is really... We had a lot of back and forth. Bob getting those 2 solo kills prior, but this is going to be a completely different matchup against the Pugna.
Are playing around not the greatest amount of HP, so kind of sharing that in common with the Morphling from what we saw previously. Thompson, though, already able to get more CS in the first 2 waves than he did previously. One thing that is a little unfortunate for Execration is that they don't have the greatest heroes to be able to take advantage of this new Lycan change, where Howl is now global if you use it during nighttime. Like, not the greatest right-clickers. It might just be used for the attack damage reduction component if they're trying to go for an aggressive moment on like a Viper and a Marcy, just for that 25% damage reduction.
What are our thoughts here on with Palos playing the Death Prophet down bottom, and of course the flex that they've also shown with the Lycan in the side lane? Like, do we feel like Palos is going to be able to match up relatively well into the really strong Viper Marcy?
I mean, my thought is that there wasn't really anyone else that would have been able to stand there and fight against the Viper. You know, I was saying Juggernaut was my potential thought just because you had that spell immunity, and with the slows you have some kill threat, but I guess you really don't even against a Marcy Viper lane, right? You're always going to have that extra movement speed to be able to get away just with the rebound. So, yeah, maybe just wanting to stand your ground a little bit more against this, and then if they do dive you, I'm kind of expecting Vincenzo to be holding on to a few points here just to make sure that he gets the living armor off if a dive does happen and he's not exactly there in the lane.
We see the other side lane as well at the moment. Tino's done a very good job with his micro, just keeping the wolves away from Whitemon. But I guess it's also then he's leveled up the wolves and not particularly using them to much effectiveness. But as soon as they're about to expire, just runs them towards the Whitemon Enchantress, get a little bit of harassment out. But it does look like both sides are finding their farm. But I guess this really favors the Morphling though, because this is a hero that does very much suffer at level 1 and level 2.
Mm-hmm. And like I was saying before, Shaker, pretty terrible in the laning stage, unless you've got like other stuns or other amount of burst damage to be able to take advantage of someone that's blocked off from the Fissure. Whitemon doesn't care. He's an Enchantress. Like, he just needs to keep ferrying him out, little bits of regen. He's gone full harass mode with his Fairy Fires and multiple Iron Branches. And again, you can't just summon the Wolves and help them assist with last hitting because you're just going to get them stolen away.
Mid lane, Bob, is he going to go for these Thompson? Oh no! Another solo kill from Bob. Couple of mangoes pop, he just charged in. It gives him the outplayed voice line once again.
Well, we saw how that worked last time, so I'm not sure if you want to be dropping it so quickly. Bob, he's going to go all the way back to base, pick up the boots of speed and a win lace just to make sure he's able to connect on through.
Vincenzo's doing a really good job to put some pressure onto Cuckoo to try and zone him away from the Death Prophet, but Cuckoo plays the distance, makes sure the poison attack continues to stack up, and now Zephyr's also hunting Vincenzo on the tree line, so T1, they're going to find a double kill for Cuckoo down bottom.
It's a pretty easy lane. Like, there's not that much that a Treant Protector could do into this. And, I mean, this is a combo that was being run very consistently all for the past, like,
oh no, Denok, he just TP'd back. Palos just TP'd back into the lane. You can't feed over another kill. Zephyr's not going to disjoint the Spirit Siphon until Vincenzo shows up. But the damage has been dealt. Palos doesn't have the resources now until the Salve given over to play this lane.
It does feel like you need that 1 point in the living armor. It's real value coming through.
That's a T2 tower! Oh my god, thanks to Shanks, that Fissure, just to allow the Shadow Fiend to go onto the tower. And he's getting a bit more vocal this time. I didn't see the double outplayed in game one.
True, coming through. I mean, even when Thompson respawns, he's going to have 5 seconds until he can actually TP there. So he's lost a fair few of these creeps to both the tower as well as the creep wave. By the time Bob's able to TP back, he hasn't really lost anything. So once again, some really nice mid play coming through from Bob.
Are you surprised that Thompson doesn't have a point in the Nether Ward?
A little bit, yeah. I feel like 1 point's still pretty value coming through.
Bottom lane, another attempt onto Vincenzo, and with the Treant Protector being completely isolated from any trees, Cuckoo and Zephyr can chase him down, and the fact that they're giving Cuckoo such a strong start can really enable Zephyr to start making some rotations.
Thompson even having to go for the Wind Lace just to get that little bit of extra movement speed. He's very speedy naturally as a Pugner, but so is an SF. So, actually, Whitemon, he might be in a bit of danger here. Trying to disrupt that a little bit, but ends up paying with his life. And now you got level 6 on Bob to have to deal with, although doesn't have the Requiem leveled up just yet, waiting for the ideal time to be able to do it. I suppose with the Nether Ward, it doesn't really reduce the magic damage anymore, but I feel like with that first blood, it was so close to being able to get the kill onto the Shadow Fiend with just the damage component that it would have been well worth it. Instead, they're going to go for a kill with a full rotation.
Oh, Bobby ran back in. He's got the Requiem leveled up. He's going to try and charge up the ultimate and set up for the raise combo. As Bob says, no, he's still going to be a little bit cautious here. Trying to secure one of the power runes. It is going to spawn down bottom. The Fissure as well to hold Thompson into place, but Bob's got some issues in regards to the cooldowns.
The one that's happiest about this, though, is Palos. Like, he has finally been left alone on this bottom side. Vincenzo, he's positioning himself a lot more aggressively. To try and scout him away. They see the fact that Marcy's coming back to the lanes, so Palos, he needs to get out a lot more quickly than this. He might be paying with his life.
It looks like that's going to be the case. Beautifully done from Cuckoo. Disjoints the Spirit Siphon. Zephyr's going to hold his on. But as long as they keep the poison attack stacking up, and Cuckoo will do just that. Dominating streak for the Viper.
I'm not sure if that's miscommunication or just underestimating the speed that Amasi is able to quickly connect through to the rest of the team. Like, he saw, Treant Protector gave vision of the fact that Marcy was coming back into that fight and, well, wasn't fast enough to back off.
It lane again.
All of his free net worth.
Ooh, it's a lot of damage, man. If Bob gets a triple raise combo, anyone dies under that.
Thompson's still playing fearless, though. It wouldn't be Thompson if he wasn't playing like this, though. Maxed out the Nether Blast, trying to get some damage in onto the tower. I suppose, well, never mind.
Don't play too fearless, sir. Long raise on cooldown. Got Whitemon nearby him. Now he's going to turn it around.
I think maybe he was trying to say, use the Wild Wing Ripper, get the push back into my Nether Blast. look to get it. They might even be able to scout out Shanks here with the Wild Wing Ripper. Here we go,
And
gets the
the
vision,
Zark.
gets the pushback, gets the body block. Great team play coming through there. Is it going to be enough, though?
One more right click. Yeah, they'll find it. Meanwhile, top lane, Ana gets a solo kill onto Tino's Lycan, so he once again is off to an incredible start.
I feel like it's... I don't want to call it selfish, but this is what I was talking about
Shadowfiend's in some
before.
trouble as well. Mid lane, Thompson gets the kill, gets the region, is sitting pretty in the resources, and our tier 1 tower is going to be in trouble.
It's only going to take a lot of harass. Ooh, getting the kill off there onto the courier. Whitemon, he's just being a menace, standing in the way. Going to try and harass him down a little bit. The tornado, I don't think is going to be able to slow him down enough, but Zephyr definitely will. Tosses it back, gets some additional damage through. Vincenzo, the tanky tree of protector, will end up going down. All the while, mid tower, it's being harassed too.
They can kill Bob again. He is in trouble. Jenks has got great position, but they know that he TP'd back in. They can go now. Tower's dead. There's nothing to really prevent T1.
Zephyr just making sure not to immediately reveal himself, but they should see his courier coming through, so Bob, wisely enough, backs off. What I was saying before was, with the way that Tino has built this Lycan, I don't like the fact that he hasn't got a single point in the Howl. I think you need 1 point in it just to make sure that bottom lane is a little bit easier. The 8 seconds of 25% attack damage reduction is actually enormous.
Tino will charge up the shapeshift. Shanks has just been able to juke back into the T1 tower, so Wymon's going to look for a TP out. But the fissure is back off cooldown for Shanks. Now, meanwhile, Bob's in a little bit of trouble. Zephyr and Thompson do an incredible job. This duo playing together from game 1 into game 2. We see how difficult it is for Execration now to deal with. And Shadowfiend not having a tier 1 tower to protect him. I've got big concerns now for how Bob's going to be able to play the next couple of minutes. Because we see what happens. Like, if he shows to a lane, Thompson just a couple of spells out, and now Bob, he can't CS.
Cuckoo's not used to this at all. He's used to being targeted a lot of the time, and now he's saying, what? I've just got a completely free lane, given to me by my Marcy, all the attention's elsewhere, I love it. Of course, Ana, with that solo kill up top, means that they've always got that in the back of their mind on Execration too. They want to take this tower, they need to open up the map a little bit. Will Thompson look to make the rotation? He's got the DD rune bottled, and here we go. He's coming in right on top of Tino.
He's just going to buy them some time. Thompson's on the south side of the fissure wall, so we can still move on 4 for more. Bob's even going to consider about rotating as well, but the triple razors will answer the initial trade from Execration and tier 1, but they've still got to be cautious though with Thompson nearby. The force to be reckoned with, but they do have a really good ward for Radiant to play with. It's going to scout up the position for the Pugna, so Bob tries to charge up the Requiem, but again, it's going to be up to the summons from the Enchantress. Whiteman scouting out Bob in the tree line. An easy kill. And now they can look for more. But Zephyr, a little bit isolated from the team. He's got Thompson to the north. He's going to look to try and zuck away the life of the Lycan. And with Ana waveforming forward as well. But Ana's going to be cautious for the moment. That's the attribute shift to play with, and damage will be lacking from Execration. So they're going to push them further away.
He was walking forward for the Echo Slam and he just gets enchanted. Wasn't able to get it off. I mean, the reason they went for that play so aggressively is that they have the vision advantage, right? They've got the Enchantress creeps they're able to scout out with no risk coming back the other way. And the fact that the Earthshaker had been taken out. That is the main priority right now for T1. Make sure Shanks dies. So I want to see him have a lot more defensive positioning come through from him. Like, he's only just picking up his Tranquil Boots now, not even getting close to either an Aghanim Shard or a Blink Dagger, but his life is so valuable just for the fact that you can cancel out this life drain. It's basically the only thing that they've got that's able to do so outside of the silence from the DP, which Palace hasn't even leveled it up yet.
And it's huge that Execration with their first EXO of the game barely tickle the tower. I mean, half health with the first EXO is not enough when you bring multiple members top, so it's going to force even more heroes from Execration to just secure this, and now for T1, this can open up the map. They can look to get aggressive elsewhere, maybe secure the T1 tower down bottom, or look to dive Bob under the T2 tower. Zephyr. Definitely a different playstyle we're seeing come out of him.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
Cuckoo as well is going into the drums straight away, so he just wants to enable his team off the back of this very successful start to pick up the tempo even further. I mean, it's not a Marcy position, one that is going to fall off later on, We know that a Viper is super capable of flash farming. We know that a Pugna can. Thompson, he doesn't farm creeps though. He farms heroes. So it's really just all making space for Ana, who's, I was about to say he's been pretty active. He's only been involved in 2 kills so far though, as Whitemon, once again, this is what I was talking about. He's a menace, man. You can't let Whitemon have his Enchantress at the, what, 8th pick of the entire draft? 8th hero pick?
So the smoke, a bit of an interesting path from Execration from top to mid. Their side of the map they're going to look to reclaim.
Heavy commit.
They'll run into both supports at the moment. Zephyr's going to be targeted down. Tino with the combos enough to get the kill. Now meanwhile to the north, Whitemon. Yeah, good luck. This goddamn Enchantress, not an easy person to bring down at all. They're going to need the Fissure to keep up. Looks like Palace instead with the Exo and the Spirit Siphon will do the work.
That's what I was talking about before, right? You use the shapeshift, you use the exorcism, you've got amazing team fight, but when you don't have them, they're very quick respawns coming through for both the Vasi as well as the Enchantress. So T1 is setting up. They're trying to push the lanes out a little bit and then just connect through and push on forward.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Thompson trying to go for some solo kills here in between 3 heroes right now. We'll be able to harass them away at least, but just a very aggressive positioning coming through from Ana as well as Cuckoo, realizing that they just don't have the tools, the resources to be able to take him down at this stage. They've got that drum as well, going into the very early Aghanim shard as well on Cuckoo, realizing that that is probably an area that they are lacking a little bit, the tower damage that's coming through.
Yeah, and with Ana getting all the space in the world that he would ever need, did you feel like Execration, like this is a ticking time bomb? Is this Morphling? I'll hold that thought mid lane. Thompson. The Requiem charge-up's going to be there with the Fissure as well connecting. Vincenzo steps through so the chain control is enough to hold Thompson down so Bob can get the damage pumping out. It's a big kill for him to find. Bit of a streak getting closer towards the BKB.
It's going to be really important for Vincenzo to get his Blink Dagger. I mean, we've been talking about the Earthshaker a little bit, needing to go for his, but just important on that tree and just to get the turnaround. They're lacking in stuns, so every one that they're able to land is worth its weight in gold. Ana, we'll see this Observer Ward can look to clean it up, and will. So really removing a lot of the map presence that they've got right now on Execration. They're playing essentially blind. Like 1 Observer Ward at the top, where Tino's playing on top of, and 1 for the river, scouting out some of these power runes.
Okay, so you mentioned that you feel like Ana is going to be that ticking time bomb in a game like this. How can they look to address the Morphling then?
I mean, I was talking about it during the very early stages of this game, is that it feels like T1 need to take a bad team fight, and it's just on Execration to be able to punish that and use Exorcism into another objective. Open up the map, get an Aegis. But T1 are disciplined. They're not doing that. They're making sure to play separately around the map, realize that we haven't quite hit our timings yet, but we've got strong heroes that are able to play early. And I mean, this is just Thompson Dota. He's nearly finished up his Octarine core, and it's 16 minutes in.
Yeah. Top lane, at least for Execration, they're able to get a kill. Tino does require the shapeshift out of him, but this is going to give him a free wave or 2 and the bonus gold from the kill to work towards the Helm of the Overlord, which is now coming out on the Courier.
That's a big timing for sure, just to be able to keep these lanes pushed out. Top lane's pushing in pretty heavily with the Helm of the Dominator creep with Siege.
Oh, okay. That's it on.
He tumbles toy away.
Yeah, just before the blast was able to connect. This tower's still going to take a little bit of damage. They've got the creep wave and the Wild Wing Ripper. Thompson's not going to get another blast out, however.
Force Ana's TP back. I was about to say I wonder if they go for an aggressive play, but if anything, that just means that you're okay with not losing anything else. It means that you actually feel confident in defending bottom if T1 did go for a dive there, but it's still so important for them to hit their own timings on Execration. They don't have a BKB on Palos, they don't have Blink Dagger on Earthshaker, they don't have Blink Dagger on Tree and Protector. Those are the big 3 that you're going for. I suppose BKB on Bob as well. So every little moment's going to be super valuable. Still 44 seconds on Ana's TP, so if he wanted to connect through to this, he wouldn't be able to. Do they just give this one up? Maybe they've learned a lesson from the last game and are just going to back off, have Shanks here to try and slow things down a little bit, but not actually fully commit.
They might just go onto the T2 tower if they see the Earthshaker. The Fissure's chucked out. They're even got a Glyph as well, so Palace will now reveal his position. What's the call from Execration?
They get something.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Okay.
You can tell Shanks wants that juicy
Dire's
nether ward.
middle tower
Just a
has
little bit of
fallen.
extra gold to be able to get closer to that blink dagger. But
Radiant's
mid tower
top
going
tower
down
is under
does help
attack.
matters. Now though, where can you play? Almost no vision, just underneath the tier 2 mid. I like this one. It's probably where T1 are going to be looking to go for some smokes, but they might also expect that this is where they've got the vision, considering mid tier 1 tower is the objective that just falled recently. Fold? Fell.
English is hard. It's okay.
Yeah, I do English goodly.
I do English goodly. I think I mess up way too often. It's okay. I'll give you a break.
We're Australian. We get a pass.
Oh, I'd love to hear that.
Our native language is Australian, but not English.
Alright, so from Execration, he didn't answer to this tier 2 tower siege, and well, the backstab, that could be it.
Dire's turret has
Great
been
micro for the Wolves, gonna scout out a lot of the positioning. Look at Vincenzo! Steps to the backline, gets the overgrowth. The control is out, setting up for the Requiem. They've only killed off the Enchantress for the moment, but they'll catch up to multiple heroes as Thompson goes down along with Zephyr. And not only do they win the skirmish, now they can move into the pit.
That wasn't even necessarily a bad fight for T1, the one that I was talking about that could potentially turn this game, but still just some great positioning coming through from Vincenzo. Sometimes it takes that moment of individual brilliance to be able to claw your way back into this, and with the exo damage, you're going to be able to take down that Aegis, give Bob a little bit more freedom to be able to get his next item. He's already got the BKB, hasn't had to use it just yet, but it's signs of hope, even just on this top side, right? You've got a range creep there, so no backdoor protection. Zephyr's doing his best to try and clear this one out, but it's some more damage, and they used the glyph for the tier 1 tower mid previously, so you're not going to have that multi-shot available.
Get the
There you go,
creep!
though.
Get the creep! Easy. Oh, we got kills across the map. I'm watching it. I'm watching Helm of the Overlord go down.
You're watching creep gaming.
I mean, plus 200 gold. Not as much as I guess what Vincenzo gave, so probably got to keep tabs on the Train Protector. Did die to Cuckoo, getting him closer towards his BKB. He's already got one component completed.
Ugh. Thompson's got a arcane rune for himself now, so that feels good.
Another kill.
Zephyr dying
Zephyr?
solo is kind of a big deal. I mean, Bob, I like the way that he's playing up here. I want to have one more person playing a little bit closer to him. Of course, Shanks just acting as a little bit of backup right now, but you got to put more pressure onto this tier 2 tower. He's got the Aegis to play around. He's got the BKB. He's going to try and take this tower. And Palace, his job right now is just stall. Stall out the game. Make sure that you can get a tower or get an objective while T1 don't get anything. But they're pretty far ahead. It only says 2k, but their timings are right now on T1. And Thompson, with all of that cast range, is just able to siege from the tree line.
Finally, Arna wants to show up as well, even pre-BKB. Just comes in, a couple of right clicks, helps secure the tower. So T1, even down the ages, feels strong enough to be able to claim out some of the map. We'll see how long they want to stick around, though. It's going to be important for them to, like you said, just really limit Execration from getting towards his timing, because they are very, very close to it.
Now, I have a question for you. What do you think about Gaben's read on this game? Have a look at the old Dota Plus. The win prop.
You want me to look, or am I guessing?
Yeah, have a look.
Okay.
Do you agree? Do you think Execration have a 2-to-1 chance to win this game? I think if it goes really late, they do. But
I think T1 are gonna have issues in team fighting. I do feel like this is a lineup that kind of needs to be doing what they are, like hitting their timings and running through a lot of the early skirmishes, but like Radiant do have big advantages in 5-on-5 fights, and I think that's going to be highlighted even more as the game goes on.
doing a pretty good job of shoving out these lanes.
Smoke from
BKBs on your important targets.
Good pop, great position for the Pugner. Gets out under cover of the Glimmer Cape. So they will not be able to see his positioning, but Execration is still pushing on forward for more. Gonna try and claim some of the map, seeing if anyone's home by the triangle.
Do they see Cuckoo? That's the better question. He's playing around this bottom tier 1 tower.
They do now.
Feels kind of a... Yeah, there we go. Might be able to get a quick pick off onto him depending on the vision coming through from T1, which is pretty just non-existent on this bottom half of the map. Can they do it? Can they claw their way back into this series? They've had a pretty decent start, and at least they claim back their outpost as well, so a bit of experience going back their way. And what do you think about this top outpost as well? They moved the outpost up a little bit, but now it's off the Aegis. It's not right on top of it.
Hang on, what? Off the Aegis?
Yeah, you see the thing on the ground underneath the outpost?
Yeah. Is it
it's
off
a little
it?
bit too high for me. Yeah.
Oh my god, shut up.
Tower's being pushed in on the top side.
Oh.
It's a decent just ghost push coming through. I mean, you've got the Manta style on Ana's Morphling now, so it'll require a little bit more attention to be given over, but it's just T1 maintaining that map control. Wait, what? On my map, it's off the Aegis.
Yeah,
but on
no,
what
yeah.
the viewers see, what do you see?
I see the same. It looks fine to me. I don't know.
Oh.
You're complaining. Understandable though. If
screenshot
it's...
later.
No, I trust you. It's fine. Well, mid lane. Aegis still for 30 seconds. They gotta be cautious. Smoke's gonna pop instantly. No one pops detection. Oh, they're just running forward. Bob gets the Requiem. He's gonna try and target down Thompson, but there's no follow-up. Finally, efficient. Where's the damage? Thompson's fine, and Ana shows up. Away for him with no hesitation. As Execration, they've got to get out. They messed up the start of the fight. They committed too heavily and didn't find any kills.
Very heavy commitment, but without your Death Prophet. Death Prophet is the sustained damage that you've got in a lot of these fights, and it's what creates space for someone like the Earthshaker to come in with that big Echo Slam, for you to get the big Blink overgrowth response as well to some of the BKBs that they've got on T1's side. So the fact that they weren't able to land that, the fact that you were forced to go in first and just get a solo overgrowth onto a Pugner who's already Glimmercaped is not so ideal. There you go, on the high ground. Tino has the TP potential to be able to get back. He's going into the Nullifier that we were talking about towards the end of the draft as a potential response to this Pugner. He's still at least one item away from it. The Helm of Iron Will, about 1,000 gold away.
I was just wondering at something. Now I'm trying to remember what it was. I was like, hang on, this make... Oh, yeah. Why is Little Friend's 6-second taunt? That has to be too long, right? That seems crazy.
Has been killed.
I think you're... No, maybe not a Helm of the Overlord. I was about to say, I think you're overestimating how much damage it does, but yeah, not if it's a Helm of the Overlord creep.
6 seconds, though. Like, sure, if you don't kill the target... Well, sorry, if you kill the target, it's gonna... No, I mean, it's worth it. Doesn't matter how long the taunt's gonna last for. But 6 seconds is a long time for a 1,400 gold item, right?
Yep.
Like, is this not, like, core in every game now? I feel like this is nuts.
Any game that has some kind of creep, you know? Eidolons or
Okay, sure.
Beastmasters. If it's not, like, jungle creeps really don't do that much. Lane creeps don't do that much.
Under attack.
It's actually Execration on the offensive for once.
Jump in. Onto Bob. They're going to try and pull him up. They might be able to do so before the BKB. Bob's out. Thompson gives him a tip as well. He'll get him back for the laning stage. Now with the rest of Execration, they're hanging around Ana. Ana's going to be cautious. Shanks is in with the combination. The chain control needs to be perfect, and it is. Execration hit back. They stick around.
There we go.
The
reverse
back into the
tips coming
tips.
through.
Dire's bottom
He's also
tower
got the Blink Dagger still on Vincenzo. He didn't pop
Another
the
jump
overgrowth
in.
previously.
Zephyr, we'll see if they can blow up the Death Prophet. Palace is pretty beefy with the hood activated.
Does everyone pop BKBs already? Yeah, Marcy
I'm
doesn't
on.
have hers.
Charging
have
to the
his.
middle. T2's gone, so they don't really have a formation to play with. They can back up to the high ground and won't even be required as Execration are happy with the objective.
No one spied the double damage bot yet either. Nice little pickup if you're able to place it in the bottle. Bob, especially if he's the one to get it. I mean, he obviously still had another great laning stage coming through, 8 kills for his team. Doing a pretty solid job. Not necessarily scaling in levels though, that's the big area where he's falling behind a little bit, and he actually did go the Presence Aura effects buildings that I was talking about before, so really wanting to take any little team fight victory and get more than expected off the back of it. There we go, they're going to be pinging out that double damage rune. Bob starts making his way over.
Oh, interesting. Shanks is holding the Tumbler's Toy at the moment. Seen a lot of the Earthshakers play with that, the Eye of the Vizier. That extra cast range is incredible. I mean, we see often it's kind of the
max mana is not incredible.
It's not
Shaker
nice,
doesn't have a lot to
but
play with, bro.
The fissure from afar
Radiant
is...
Bro, I think you're forgetting that Tumbler's Toy gives 200 mana. So he's going to be in 625, minus 20% of that. You've got like 500 mana. That's not a lot.
I'm saying this, we saw Slardin prioritize Eye of the Vizier, and he looked incredible on the Earthshaker. So all I'm saying is like, you know, I saw him use it. I'm like, all right, he looked pretty good on it.
He's one of the ones that's allowed to play it, though.
Yeah, so,
he's part of an exclusive list.
So what, should we not then be saying like, okay, if Shanks doesn't have the Eye of the Vizier, someone on the exclusive list is using it?
He's been playing it all right. He's going to need some like game-winning plays to get onto the true list of allowed to play Earthshaker.
So far, as like you said, he's playing all right. We'll see if he's able to continue that, but the damage that they can pump in, all they need on Execration is just the control. That is the main thing. Bob with the double damage rune, almost level 18. Palos, going to be a little bit more dependent on the levels. Really, level 18 is a nice timing key for the Death Prophet, having that last and final point in the Exo. But it definitely feels like, even though there's a 5,000 net worth lead for T1, like they really do have to pay some respect into Execration's lineup. Like this is a team that will thrive in these team fight scenarios.
So I was talking about how I didn't like the lack of usage of it in the laning phase, just to be able to help out particularly Palace and bot lane. But Hal being leveled up now and just constantly sending his creeps and his wolves to be able to push out these lanes means that you've actually freed up a big amount of time for Bob as well as Palace to be able to farm up their next item. I really want to see Palace in particular just get into that plate mail if he can afford it. He's holding on to a lot of gold right now, and I'm not sure how valuable a Dust or a Windlace is going to be relative to something else. 5 seconds left on that Roche timer.
This is big.
So can they find the backline? Can they get the vision down?
This is a big wrap around.
Scouting out isn't out of the ordinary.
They see Ana. They see Ana. They're going to get the fissure, but instead they'll turn to Marcy. An instant pick off. But Execration, you need more out of this. You pop the shapeshift for it. Tino's going to charge him. Nullify's there. The threat of the overgrowth, but Vincenzo doesn't cast it. So Ana just waveforms in, gets rid of the Tree Protector, and now they've got a sentry as well into Bob's location. They're trying to force out an early use of the BKB, but Bob will be able to reposition. But T1, they weathered the storm. They wasted out the shapeshift. They wasted out the double damage rune as well on Bob.
They've been using the Ogre Bruiser the entire time to see that they've got this.
Look at the charge up, the smoke. Is T1 trying into the higher ground, but Execration, they'll back off.
Or Granite Golem giving his life up for the cause, and well, maybe now they'll feel like it's easy enough to go into this Roche pit. You do have the Wolf here scouting things out a little bit. Gotta get it out of the poison. No. You know everything. Gotta get it out. No, there we go. Sentry Ward gets dropped down, so there's not going to be any kind of Aegis deny coming through here. Might be the full team coming through though, Thompson, especially if he gets hit first.
Charge up the Requiem from afar. Thompson, they just clip on the fear. They're going to try and blow up the Pugna, but the damage is not there at the moment. Thompson's protected. The D crept out to the north side, and now Bob is getting chased out, but a turn into the crit. They'll kill off the Marcy, but they go overgrowth, buying some time, but no Shanks. He misses on the Echo Slam. They needed that ultimate, and a T1. They can charge on forward, targeting down Tino with a Lycan. They'll secure the easy kill. Turning to Palos next is going to be Ana. Fisher's still on cooldown for the Morphling Replicate, so they will not be able to catch up.
It's the power of the Netherward, my man. That dealt damage to Shanks when he used the Enchant Totem there just to try and set up for that little bit of extra stun to go in for the Echo Slam, and meant that he didn't actually have the blink available. So just little things like that. It's the power of the Pugna, right? All this passive damage, disabling BKBs, and turning your own strengths against them.
Now you got to go up into a second life on Ana's Morphling. Level 20 with the waveform attacks, and he's got the Ag Shard that...
Pugna and Marcy still need it.
Oh, yeah, okay, sorry, he already has his Shard, so yeah, send it back on the corridor.
You give this one to maybe Marcy, just to provide a little bit of extra range, I suppose, if Thompson gets caught out. Maybe Thompson just wants the cast range on the Netherward. I don't think we'll see a multi-Zuck coming through, unfortunately.
The glizzy.
What the hell is a glizzy? Some Zuma slang?
I shouldn't have even said that. Cuckoo?
Yeah,
Oh, no,
I figure it was something like that.
no, Shanks, get out. I was gonna go for a TP. He'll be fine. Okay. So Bob is cruising out, but T1. This is. Do you feel like this is an Aegis where they can poke the high ground?
Oh, for sure. I mean, they have Echo Slam back up, I suppose, and Exorcism as well, but this is a chance for them to just get the lanes pushing back out in their favor. It's daytime as well, so Tino isn't going to have that Howl just to assist with the split push coming through. Obviously, you've got the Ancient Black Dragon to be able to do so, but they're just trying to look for pickoffs right now. So Thompson, with his Boots of Travel, can join at any time. The Enchantress, there's always going to be a creep that they have to TP onto as well, so I like the way that T1 are splitting up the map. They catch Palos.
They will be able to. Oh my god, what was that damage?
That's Enchanted Quiver, my man, alongside of a Marcy with Sidekick and everything maxed out, stun on stun. Pretty devastating. They're just, again, trying to trade up top here on Execration. It honestly feels like the most that they can do, even if it's just getting the glyph out to enable a future rat play. Can't fight without the Death Prophet. That is your source of consistent damage. Just standing up here, providing that little bit of the aura from the Helm of the Overlord. They're going to lose a lot pretty damn quickly. Not even bothering for the range racks, and Bob just trying to put his body on the line as well. That glyph isn't really going to juice any of the backdoor protection though. Mid's already pushed in, but they're going to back off as soon as they see that the Lycans come on back. So at least they get a tier 3, but you lose a tier 3 and a melee racks in exchange. Could have been worse for Execration for sure though.
Definitely could have been worse, but we just see how difficult it is for them. Like these fights, what do they need to do differently? Is there a location we need to see them fight around? Is there a hero that just has to be killed off at the start of the fight, otherwise they won't succeed?
Kinda feels like Pogner needs to die. You know, he's been pretty quick at getting off the Nether Ward, Glimmer Cape, Lotus Orb. It's just everything that's going to enable, for example, the well, himself to cast all of his abilities, right? I feel like Thompson's being very greedy with the use of his Nether Ward, just because he needs to. He needs to be able to get rid of that silence. He needs to be able to remove the overgrowth from people. Eventually, it's going to get to the stage, level 25, where overgrowth is undispellable, but you are a long way away from that.
Anna, reform in, threatening Bob and Shanks' position. Bob is keeping up in net worth, but it feels like it's going to be a very difficult task for him to be able to compete in these fights. BKB is something that, I mean, he needs to get a kill, potentially even 2 throughout the BKB duration. He's unable to do so. He's going to have a lot of difficulties with standing his ground.
Nighttime now, though.
Backstab.
A little bit of that extra damage potential, that minus armor that they need to really burst someone down. And
they've split from Ana.
SF's coming back
now. Aegis going to expire in 40 seconds. He's going to wait for him into the tree line. Bob, it's a lot of Requiem damage, so get the first slap, but how do you set up for the second? T1, are they going to be in the neighborhood to protect it for the moment? Ana with the respawn, but instead Execration, they're going to go for Cuckoo. The right clicks from Bob, it's not enough to get the life for Cuckoo. Now Bob, he's battling over to Ana. It looks like the Morphling's winning out for the moment, but under the cover of the Shadow Blade, Bob will be able to get out. Meanwhile, Palos has killed off Cuckoo, so Execration, beautifully done. They get the Aegis and the life for the position 3 on T1.
Cuckoo was a little deep, you know, even as this Viper being backed up by a Marcy, probably can't expect to extend your life that far deep. He was basically right next to a tier 3 tower, pincered between the Execration territory. That's the job of Zephyr. That's he didn't have to pop the BKB that time, but you really need that consistent damage coming through. You need to make sure that that Viper Strike is getting in onto the Death Prophet to not let Palos have quite as easy of a time. Still though, with the Shapeshift being popped, with the Requiem being used, and the Overgrowth, the Exorcism actually, they feel like they could just look to go again. Whitemon sitting on the front lines with that pipe, slowly pushing forward. I mean, he needs to. He needs to try and slow this down a little bit, wait for those cooldowns, and even one wave is significant enough. Worth using that Shiva's
Radiant's
guard.
top tower
All these
is
cooldowns
under
only
attack.
about 15-20 seconds away.
Got a double damager in as well for the Shadow Fiend. Scary prospect if you do not siege fast enough in tier 1. They're going to back off and look to smoke. Maybe connecting with Cuckoo with this mid lane shoving out. Potentially the possibility to go through mid and into the jungle, and that's where the line is drawn for them. They don't have any vision to play with at the moment, so it's going to be up to Whitemon to pop a ward as soon as the smoke is popped.
Bob's got pretty significant damage now. I mean, he's got the crit damage and the fear from the Necromastery. He's got the Silver Edge picked up. Some solid right-click coming through there. +3 damage per soul as well. They know what's coming, though. Walking underneath the outpost, flaming it. So they're going to need to back off entirely. Ooh, Vincenzo might need to TP immediately, and he does. So again, it's just getting into those items, you know. Small items are going to do a lot for Execration and their capabilities of defending this high ground. Force Staff, just giving that little bit of a way to create some space away from the Viper, away from the Pugner, but got to join the fight now.
Arna's gonna. Oh, the Manta! No, no, no! Arna, what have you done to them? Oh, that was the DD popped as well. They dropped everything to try and blow him up. Some people, I don't understand how freaking good they are at Dota. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's some pretty next level plays going through there from Arna, just able to land that at a moment's notice. I mean, this is TI Grand Finals Ember Spirit level play.
Wait. Oh no, Thompson's even got a Lincoln's now. Good luck going through him. You said that was really the target that Execration had to try and blow up. Thompson is providing them so much in the team fights. Getting rid of that Nether Ward and his overall damage and sustain is going to be important, but now that he has this extra defensive item to play with, it's going to make it that much more difficult for Execration. Oh, he's even got a timeless relic
from
too.
the Nullifier too. Like, Lycan has nothing else that's going to be able to proc it, so it's going to hit the Lincoln Sphere, and then you've still actually got the Decrepify for yourself.
Maybe
Lycan,
you're
of course, purely physical.
forced to have the Icefire bomb like he does at the moment, maybe with the Shaman, just to kind of get through the Lincolns.
They got any good neutral items for it? If they get the Witchbane, they can use it for that purpose.
10,000 net with
Top's
lead
pushing
though.
in a little bit though.
Yeah, they're going to be forced to go back.
Dire's
Bob,
top barracks are under attack.
what's the call here for the Shadow Fiend? Does he reveal his position? Maybe looks to clear the wave and get out. His head's into the
They
moment.
should know
doesn't
he's
see
there.
T1
Yeah,
on
they're
the map.
pinging out. They saw it on the creeps, the presence of the Dark Lord aura, so they know that Shadow Fiend's waiting there. Biding his time, hoping that someone comes out solo. Of course, Thompson would be the dream, considering he doesn't have buyback, about 800 gold away. Instead, Bob just shoves out the lane. He's going into the Satanic next, which I understand. Like, previously when he's popped the Requiem and he's tried to stand and man fight, it hasn't been all that successful. Actually, it's going to be the Chen creep. Sorry, the Enchantress creep that ends up scouting out Roche first. And this is with Execration standing completely around it. So they're going to have all information of exactly where Execration are looking to play. They've got the vision for this. Does Palos have a TP? Not for 19 seconds. So he needs to start booking it up towards the Roche pit.
Arna's going to have an MKB for this next team fight as well, which is incredibly important to deal with this evasion from the Shadow Fiend. So Bob, he's not going to be free to be able to duel the Morphling now. We'll see Whitemon.
He's 5 gold away. Blitz Knuckles still needs to be picked up.
It's such a tough call for Execration to make. If they continued taking Roche, they probably would have killed it off before T1 was able to get there. But now they've had this
Centaur
time to
Corsa.
smoke up.
I mean, they want to pick off Palos. He is the one that needs to be going down. Well worth popping
Shanks instead.
BKBs for.
Shake is pretty important as well. Smoke's gonna pop on Cuckoo. Palace gets the Exo along with the BKB, but the damage coming out. Arna just ripping apart the life of the Death Prophet. He doesn't have the armor to stand his ground as Arna's doing too much damage. He'll turn towards the Tree Protector, getting rid of another component onto Execration's lineup. And this is gonna be a miracle for them to turn over this team fight as Bob's charging into the middle. He's gonna BKB TP up, but Arna's damage. Ooh.
Definitely got it. He was right there on point, waiting for the bash. He even had the extra cast range, or attack range rather, from the Penta Edge sword. And well, That is a free Roshan being picked up for T1. It's got the Aghanim Scepter on it as well, so what are we looking at here? Are we looking to give that over to Ana and just have a quick look over at Mr. Earthshaker and say, hey, what's going on, buddy?
Alright, we got Aegis on Ana, Scepter on the Morphling, like you said, and Cheese on Thompson as well. So another defensive toolkit. They are eyeing up Thompson down bottom.
Radiant's top tower
He's got the
is under
detection
attack.
coming out. Bob's going to try and backstab the Pugna. A very awkward position from Thompson to play, and we'll see what he's going to be able to do 1v2. They're able to deal with the Decrep. Requiem out, and a big kill for them to find. But that is Shapeshift along with Requiem forced, and this might free up the siege now for T1.
There's not going to be
Jump
a pesky
in,
Netherlord
Zephyr.
there either.
Oh, he doesn't get the toss back. Palos just to the south side. He's going to be okay for the moment. Doesn't want to pop the BKB. Great nerves are still here from Palos to hold that magic immunity.
Doing a good job to push out this bottom side as well, forcing T1 to potentially make a rotation back, stop their aggression, not get the absolute most out of the Aegis. They still do get the level 25 though
Dire's bottom tower
on
is
Ana's
under
Morphling,
attack.
and yeah, they are forced back. Losing a tier 3 tower in the process as well, so Execration, for the 16k that they're behind, they're still doing a pretty decent job of being able to draw this one out and play around the strengths they have, which is all of these big teamfight ultimates.
We were speaking about earlier that if Ana could kind of reach this critical mass where it was kind of a ticking time bomb, and I mean, it's 10,000 net worth over the Shadow Fiend. Of course, that Ag's Blessing is very much helping out with the net worth, but I'm trying to see if Bob's ever going to reach a time where he is something that has to be a force to be reckoned with. He's having an incredible game, 10, 4, and 7, but I don't know if the Shadow Fiend can do it all by himself.
I mean, just having a look at some of the neutral items that they've got as well, do they help at all? Not really, to be honest. I mean, again, no targeted items either, so you're not going to be able to easily get through that nullifier. They had to do it previously with what did actually pop the Lincolns last time? I guess it was the nullifier, and they were still able to kill him on Thompson.
It might have been a creep he had as well. I'm not quite sure. I don't remember. We'll see. Networth leads holding out for the moment. This Aegis Execration are doing a very good job at splitting up the side lanes. They only have to wait another 2 minutes until that Aegis is going to expire, and they're even threatening Thompson up top, considering about maybe making a play, but just happy with keeping the lane shoved out.
Plus 250 for Thompson, easy money. That Ranger Axe is starting to take a little bit of harassment. I kind of want to see, of course, it's important for him to hold buyback on Tino, and well, bottom lane is actually starting to get shoved in. Just under 2 minutes left on this Aegis. You've got double siege creep wave protected by the pipe aura. Just to try and siege into this. Someone needs to TP back. I don't think you can push this back just with Bob and Palos on their own.
Oh no! I lost the first life with the fear. Ooh, very close.
Tino's still up here. They're really trying to bait out a move from Thompson to come down to this bottom side. Well, pops the Satanic, back at full HP. Another creep wave coming through. Power slowly getting healed up. Would be enough.
I lost. He's gonna waveform in. Minute left on the Aegis. They'll get the tier 3 tower. And looks like they're gonna look to reset after that for tier 1. Next creep wave coming in shortly. They've got mid pushed in as well. Someone on Execration will be forced to try and deal with the mid lane.
Maybe when Bob reveals his moment where they feel like they can push on forward. I mean, for everything that's happening, they haven't actually lost much on Execration's side. So 40 seconds left on that Aegis.
They commit the Echo for it. Maybe it's going to be the Requiem follow-up with the respawn. Bob needs to be perfect with the timing, and it looks like he is, but the damage, it's not coming fast enough. Ana pops the BKB and just turns it around. They never stood a chance into the Morphling, but maybe off the back of the buyback, T1 need to respect this. As Vincenzo, though, he doesn't have the overgrowth to work with. It's going to be off the back of Palos, just running into the middle. They're going to be cautious, though. Inside the base, waveform in, Shanks with the pushback, but the damage isn't there. Ana's gonna be okay. Steps outside the base. They are getting ratted though. T1 need to address this. Tino's going for tier 4s.
They hold him back. That's the question. You want to try and
call the
catch
Fury to
them
the
on
vision once
retreat.
again. Beautiful force.
Just solo. Zephyr's able to hold them back. Costs them a buyback, but I think you're going to be very happy of Tino. Has to be a little bit careful here. Pops the shapeshift just to be able to try and connect onto a few waves and assist with the push on forward. If you're just trying to take another tier 3 solo, it'll be successful.
Ooh, this is a scary TP.
That's a long TP. 6 seconds up towards the top side, and he's successful. Easy bounty ring. Yeah, he's going into the Desolator eventually as well. Really just realizing that, well, full rat dota is the way that we're going to win this game. The buybacks hurt a lot on Shadow Fiend as well as the DP though. Like, just to not have that backup. Also, he actually finished up the Satanic off the back of that previous fight as well. So I was kind of expecting Bob to still be a bit short. He needs that level 25. Just that Shadow Rays to apply the attack damage could be absolutely enormous for them to be able to turn this one around.
I wonder what the call is going to be now for Execration, because you have really opened up a possibility for you to look to just completely avoid team fights and just go for the rat and look to base race. You have this Lycan to be able to buff you up, the damage from the Exo, even the Shadow Fiend, you mentioned the level 15 talent, the presence or affects buildings. I think there is a real possibility for Execration just to say screw the team fights if they feel they're that far behind and just look to take another route in trying to rat instead.
Still got such good team fight though. They might find Whitemon here, but you don't want to commit onto this with Bob's life. He is way too valuable, especially with no buyback available. They can get the break onto the Enchantress though. They might be able to take her out really quickly. All right, that's a free kill.
Can't stick around for too long though. Get the jump in. He's gonna pop PK. He's
bash.
sleeping now with the bashes. Bob's in trouble. He pulled back prior. You need to use everything to keep the Shadow Fiend alive, and they've got nothing in the tank. Bob goes down, dead for 2 minutes. This is the window now for T1 to close out this series.
Shanks trying to do his best to keep the bottom side pushed in. I'm sure he's going to layer out a Fissure. A couple of extra usages of the Enchant Totem just to try and push this one away. Just the Havoc Hammer as well to try and clear that one out. I respect it. It's about the delay game coming through, but can you delay for 100 seconds? I don't think you can.
Shapeshift? They might look for the echo as well from Shanks. They're going to jump in, but the control's not there. Tops and steps out to the left, but still Tina with the damage. He might go for Cuckoo as well. Nullifier's there. Cuckoo's going to pop a BKB. Not really holding for the moment. So Tino's just going to look to TP out instead, recognizing he can't continue the chase. And on the other side of the map, Palos popped an Exorcism as well. And Arna's in pursuit. Waveform's still on cooldown. And it looks like they're okay. Execration. They're doing an incredible job to stall.
Shanks is nearly online to try and be a little bit more of that core as well. I feel like you get to the stage where you don't want to hold buyback on the Earthshaker. You've already used it on 2 cores. This next fight might very well be the last as Shanks can't be giving up your life for free though. Oh, Cuckoo. Just not quite there, but that's the Aghanim Scepter on Shanks. If he wants to buy it,
he can't lose anyone.
Really
Vincenzo, oh, he's got a buyback at least. It's an early glyph forced out as well. 30 seconds until the Shadow Fiend's back alive. T1 push incredibly fast though.
stalling from Shanks.
I mean, they're going for the tier 4s. Tino's in.
Palos, you fought back as well.
Palos is in trouble. Arna trying to lock onto his target. 1 tier 4 down, soon to the next. Dire, they're going to be able to siege much faster than Radiant. The Shadow Fiend won't even have a possibility of respawning, because look at the damage coming out from T1. It's going to be a miracle if they can hold it on Execration. And even though Shanks finds a double Echo Slam, it is not enough. As T1, with the debut of the new roster, they are able to take down Execration 2-0, and they will continue on in the upper bracket, moving on to at least the upper bracket semi-finals to face RSG.
It was a bit of a scary moment there for sure for T1. You know, they had a really good start to the game. They knew that these team fights were eventually going to come online, but just a couple of instances of poor positioning coming through from Execration. You could tell they're a little bit disappointed with how that one turned out. They had the draft to be able to take the win. It was just a couple of times where, unfortunately, people caught off the mark. I like the adaptation, though, going for the full rat play on Tino. He did the best with what they had the capability to play with at that stage. 15k behind, you got to go for something different because clearly, up until that stage, what you'd been doing hadn't been working. So even though he was, I think, 4, 10, and 15 on Zephyr, I think he was the best player that game. Like, he enabled Cuckoo. He was very aggressive with a lot of these rotations. He picked off individual targets. His build going into that early basher netted them a couple of TP escapes that didn't actually end up popping off. And even just doing simple things like popping the sidekick onto Ana when he wants to dive into the middle of the team